What if being invisible saved your life? Amara scrubbed their floors for 3 years, 7 months pregnant with their son's baby, and they threw her into a Christmas snowstorm like trash. But the Korean Mafia boss who found her dying didn't just save her. He burned their mansion to the ground with everything they loved inside. This is a story of invisible women made visible through fire, of revenge that tastes like justice, and of the family we choose when blood discards us. Hit subscribe now because this story will shatter you before it makes you whole. Don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. This story belongs to everyone who's ever been treated as less than human. Thank you for your support. Hello, fam. Welcome back to Afro-Korean Heartbeat Stories. If you love emotional roller coasters with interracial romance, mafia redemption, and revenge that burns brighter than any fire, you're in the right place. The match struck on Christmas Eve. But the fire? That had been building for 3 years. Amara's knees ached against the marble floor of the library, her pregnant belly pressed awkwardly against her thigh as she scrubbed coffee stains from the imported Italian rug. She didn't hear them enter. The Sterling mansion was always full of sounds, staff moving through hallways, the hum of expensive heating systems, the distant clatter of kitchen preparations for tonight's Christmas Eve party. Amara had learned to disappear into those sounds. Invisible labor, invisible woman. She'd been scrubbing the same section for 5 minutes, 7 months pregnant, and struggling to reach the far corner without repositioning. The loose black maid's uniform she'd bought 2 sizes up was supposed to hide the pregnancy, but there was no hiding it anymore. Her belly was round and prominent, pressing against cheap fabric, announcing itself with every movement. Stand up. Now. Amara's head snapped up. Victoria Sterling stood in the library doorway, her silver hair perfectly styled, her designer pantsuit immaculate. Behind her, Marcus. His fiancée Claire, his sister Jessica, 4 of them, blocking the only exit. Amara struggled to her feet, one hand braced against the floor, the other instinctively moving to protect her belly. Her knees screamed in protest. She'd been kneeling for 40 minutes. Victoria's eyes went straight to Amara's stomach, narrowed, calculated. How long did you think you could hide it? Amara's mouth went dry. Mrs. Sterling, how long? The words cracked like a whip. Amara's hands trembled. She looked past Victoria to Marcus, silently begging him with her eyes. Tell them. Please, Marcus. Tell them the truth. But Marcus wouldn't meet her gaze. He stood near the Christmas tree they decorated together last week, just the 2 of them, late at night, laughing and stealing kisses between ornaments. He'd touched her belly and whispered promises about their future, their son, their family. Now he looked at her like she was a stranger. Claire stepped forward, phone already in her hand. I told you, Victoria. I told you she was hiding something. Shut up, Claire. Victoria's voice was ice. She moved closer to Amara, each step deliberate. Who's the father? Amara's breath caught. Mrs. Sterling, if we could just talk privately. Answer the question. The library felt smaller with each passing second. Amara's eyes flicked to Marcus again. He'd gone pale. His jaw was clenched tight. Claire saw the glance. Her eyes widened with something like triumph. Oh my God, she's claiming it's Marcus's baby. That's insane. Marcus's voice came out strangled. He stepped back from the tree, hands raised like he was warding off an accusation. I've never touched her. This is completely… Marcus, please. Amara's voice broke. Tell them the truth. Tell them about us. There is no us. Marcus's words landed like blows. You're the maid. That's all you've ever been. Jessica laughed from her position near the leather sofa. The sound was sharp and cruel. Did you really think my brother would risk his inheritance for someone who scrubs our toilets? Amara felt her knees weaken again. She locked them, refusing to fall in front of these people. Marcus, we've been together for 8 months. You said you loved me. You said— I've never said those things. Marcus turned away completely, facing the window. His reflection in the glass showed nothing. No emotion. No recognition. This is delusional. Victoria pulled out her phone. Dr. Harrison, I need you at the house immediately. Amara's stomach dropped. Dr. Harrison, the Sterling family physician for 20 years. The man who'd examined her last week and smiled while telling her the baby was developing perfectly. Mrs. Sterling, please let me explain. You'll explain nothing. Victoria's hand moved faster than Amara expected. The slap echoed through the library like a gunshot. Amara's head snapped to the side. Pain exploded across her cheek. She tasted copper where her teeth had caught the inside of her mouth. Her hand flew up instinctively, but not to her face, to her belly, protecting the baby. Always protecting the baby. You will not speak unless spoken to. Victoria's hand was still raised, ready to strike again. Did you really think you could trap my son with some street rat's baby? The racial slur hung in the air like poison. Amara had endured a year of subtle jabs, comments about her hair being unprofessional when she wore it natural, questions about whether Nigerian food was too spicy for the household, suggestions that her accent made her difficult to understand, even though she spoke perfect English. But this was different. This was a blade aimed directly at her heart, at her child. The baby is Marcus's. Amara's voice was steady, despite the tears threatening to fall. We've been together since April. Shut your mouth. Edgar Sterling's voice rumbled from the library entrance. Amara hadn't heard him arrive. He moved into the room like a king entering his throne room, tall, imposing, radiating the kind of power that came from 4 generations of wealth and influence. He didn't need to raise his voice. Everyone in the room went silent. You don't get to say my son's name anymore. Edgar settled into the wingback chair near the fireplace, arranging himself like he was presiding over court. Claire, show her what we found. Claire's smile was venomous. She held up her phone, swiping through photos. These were taken 2 months ago at the Lexington Hotel. Amara squinted at the screen. A woman entering a hotel lobby. Same height as Amara, same skin tone, same build. Wearing clothes that looked like Amara's, the blue cardigan she'd bought on sale, the black pants she wore on her days off. I don't know her. I've never been to the Lexington Hotel. That's interesting. Claire zoomed in on the photo. Because that's the necklace Marcus gave you for Christmas last year. You're wearing it in the photo, see? The gold chain with your initials. Amara's hand flew to her throat. The delicate gold chain was there, the tiny A pendant resting against her collarbone. Marcus had given it to her last December, their first month together. Merry Christmas, beautiful, he'd whispered, fastening it around her neck in the privacy of the storage room where they'd stolen moments between his family obligations. That's not me in those photos. Someone else is wearing— You're calling me a liar? Claire's voice rose. There are timestamps. September 14th, 3 p.m. You entered with a man, a black man in a maintenance uniform, by the way. Stayed for 3 hours, left disheveled. I've never— That's enough. Victoria's voice cut through Amara's protest. Dr. Harrison just arrived. He'll settle this scientifically. The family physician entered carrying his medical bag. He'd been to the house hundreds of times over the years. Amara had served him tea just last week while he examined Victoria for her annual checkup. He wouldn't meet Amara's eyes now. Dr. Harrison, Victoria gestured imperiously, tell us what you found when you examined her last week. Dr. Harrison pulled a folder from his bag. His hands were steady. His voice was clinical. Based on the ultrasound measurements taken on December 17th, fetal development indicates conception occurred in early to mid-October. I've checked and rechecked the measurements. There's no mistake. October. Marcus's voice was flat, rehearsed. I was in Europe the entire month of October. London, specifically. Business acquisition for Sterling Industries. The travel records confirm it. Jessica held up her tablet, scrolling through what looked like flight manifests and hotel bills. Private jet departing New York September 30th. Return flight November 8th. He wasn't in the country. Amara's world tilted. You came back. October 12th through 14th. We spent the weekend at your cabin upstate. You said you couldn't stand being away from me anymore. I was in London. Marcus turned from the window finally, and his face was a stranger's face. Cold. Certain. The records prove it. But I remember. You remember what you wanted to happen. Victoria's voice dripped with contempt. You wanted my son so desperately that you fabricated a relationship. You probably got pregnant by some random man and decided to pin it on Marcus. Thought you could trap your way into this family. Staff members were gathering in the hallway now. Amara could see them through the open door. Maria the housekeeper, Robert the groundskeeper, Elena and Sophia from the kitchen staff. All of them watching, all of them silent. Witnesses to her destruction. Claire pulled out another document. Since we're being thorough, let's talk about the money you've been stealing. I haven't stolen $800 transferred from the household accounts to your personal account every single month for the past year. Claire read from the paper. Total, $9,600. That's called embezzlement. Marcus authorized those transfers. Amara's voice finally rose, desperation breaking through. I send money home to my family in Nigeria. My mother needs it for my younger siblings' school fees. Marcus knew. He signed the authorization forms himself. I authorized no such thing. Marcus's lie was smooth, practiced. I've never signed anything giving you access to family funds. Amara looked at the people surrounding her. Victoria, radiating cold fury. Edgar, presiding over her trial with detached cruelty. Jessica, gleeful at the spectacle. Claire, orchestrating the whole thing with venomous precision. Marcus, the man she loved, the father of her child, denying her completely. And in the hallway, the staff. People she'd worked beside for 3 years. People who'd eaten meals with her in the kitchen. People who knew, who had to know, that she and Marcus had been together. Not one of them said a word. Here's what's going to happen. Victoria pulled a folder from her designer handbag. The papers were already prepared, pre-printed. This wasn't a spontaneous discovery. This was an orchestration. You'll sign these termination papers, effective immediately. You'll leave this house within the next 5 minutes. If you ever contact my son again, if you ever speak publicly about this family, if you so much as breathe our name, I will have you arrested for theft and fraud. It's Christmas Eve. Amara's voice came out small, broken. It's snowing outside. I'm 7 months pregnant. I have nowhere to go. Should have thought of that before you tried to trap a man out of your league. Claire's cruelty was casual, practiced. Jessica examined her manicured nails. How does it feel knowing you'll never be anything more than what you are? The help. Amara turned to Marcus one last time. I love you. You love me. Please don't do this to our baby. Please, Marcus, our son. For just a moment, one heartbeat, something flickered across Marcus's face. Doubt. Maybe even pain. Then Victoria spoke again, and whatever humanity had surfaced disappeared. Sign the papers, or we call the police. Your choice is very simple. Amara's hands shook as she took the pen. The papers blurred through her tears. Irreconcilable differences. Dissolution of employment. Waiver of all claims to property and assets. The words meant nothing. Everything meant nothing. She signed her name. Each letter felt like a betrayal of herself. Good. Victoria snatched the papers away before the ink was dry. Now get out. Can I at least get my things? My clothes? My grandmother's bracelet? Everything in this house is sterling property. Victoria's smile was cold. You take nothing. My phone? Claire held up Amara's iPhone, the rose gold case glinting in the light. Paid for by Marcus. It stays here. My coat, then. Just my coat. It's freezing outside. Victoria glanced at Edgar, who gave a curt nod. Maria, get her coat from the hallway closet, the thin one she came with. Nothing else. Maria moved quickly, disappearing and returning with the worn black coat Amara had brought from Nigeria 3 years ago. It was designed for autumn, not winter, not a Christmas Eve blizzard. Maria handed it over without meeting Amara's eyes. But Amara thought she saw the woman's hand shake slightly. 5 minutes are up. Victoria gestured toward the door. Get out of my house. Amara pulled on the coat. It barely closed over her pregnant belly. She walked toward the door on legs that didn't feel like her own. The staff members in the hallway parted to let her through. None of them spoke. None of them helped. She made it to the front door. The grand entrance she'd cleaned 1,000 times. The marble floors she'd polished until they gleamed. The brass fixtures she'd shined every week. The door opened. Cold air rushed in, carrying snowflakes that melted on the heated floor. The temperature outside had to be below 20 degrees. The wind was howling. Amara looked back one final time. Marcus stood in the library doorway, backlit by the Christmas tree lights. He was watching her leave. His face showed nothing. Marcus. His name came out as a whisper, a plea. He turned his back. The door slammed behind her with a finality that echoed in her bones. The cold hit her like a physical blow. Wind cut through her thin coat as if it weren't there at all. Snow was falling thick and fast, already accumulating on the circular driveway. The mansion's Christmas lights blurred through her tears, reds and greens and golds, mocking her with their cheerful glow. Amara pulled the coat tighter around her belly and started walking. Her shoes, cheap flats, not designed for snow, slipped on the icy driveway. Each step was treacherous. Each breath burned her lungs. The gates were automated. They opened as she approached, sensors detecting her presence. Then she was through, standing on the public street, watching the gates close behind her with an electronic click that sounded like a prison door locking. She'd walked these streets 1,000 times before. To the market for grocery runs, to the pharmacy to pick up Victoria's prescriptions, to the dry cleaners with Marcus's suits. But never like this. Never pregnant, penniless, and fighting for 2 lives against the killing cold. The temperature had dropped to 18 degrees. Amara's coat was designed for autumn, not a Christmas Eve blizzard. Within 10 minutes, she couldn't feel her fingers. The street was in one of Manhattan's wealthiest neighborhoods. Long driveways, houses set far back from the road, Christmas lights in every window. Through the glass, she could see families gathering, children opening presents early, adults laughing with champagne glasses raised, warm, safe, whole. Amara considered knocking on one of those doors, begging for help. Then she looked down at herself, cheap maid's uniform visible under her open coat, pregnant belly obvious, black woman alone on a street where everyone was white and wealthy. They'd call the police. She knew it with bone-deep certainty. A desperate, pregnant black woman on their doorstep on Christmas Eve? Threat, not victim. Danger, not person in need. She kept walking. The main road was 6 blocks away. Maybe there would be a store open, a gas station, somewhere with a phone she could use. But who would she call? She tried to remember her best friend Zainab's number. It was in her phone contacts. She'd never had to memorize it. The numbers wouldn't come. They were somewhere in her brain, but panic and cold were making everything fuzzy. Snow accumulated on her shoulders, in her hair. Her teeth started chattering. The baby kicked weakly, as if sensing the danger they were in. I know, baby, I know. Amara's hand pressed against her belly as she walked. Mama's going to find help, I promise. But the streets were empty. Everyone was inside. Everyone was safe. Everyone except her. She reached a gas station after 20 minutes of walking. The fluorescent lights were harsh and bright. A clerk stood behind the counter, a young white man, maybe 25, scrolling through his phone. Amara pushed through the door. Warmth hit her face, almost painful after the cold. She stood there, dripping melted snow on the linoleum floor, trying to catch her breath. The clerk looked up. His eyes went from her face to her belly to her cheap coat. His expression closed off immediately, suspicious, wary. Can I use your phone? Amara's voice came out hoarse. Please, I'm pregnant. It's an emergency. No public phone, and customers only inside. His hand moved toward something under the counter. I just need one call. My baby. I said customers only. His tone was flat, final. You gonna buy something or leave? Amara had no money, no wallet, no way to buy anything. Please, I'm begging you, one phone call. The clerk's hand was definitely on something now. Weapon, alarm. She couldn't tell which. Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to leave, now. She left. The bells above the door jangled mockingly as she stepped back into the cold. The temperature was dropping further. Her shivering had intensified. Her fingers and toes were going numb. Each breath felt like inhaling knives. She found a bus stop 2 blocks away. There was a covered bench, protection from the wind at least. An elderly black woman sat there with grocery bags at her feet, waiting for a bus that probably wasn't running on Christmas Eve. Hope flared in Amara's chest. Someone who might understand. Someone who might help. Excuse me, ma'am. Amara sat down carefully, her pregnant belly making the movement awkward. I'm in trouble. I need help. The woman looked at her, really looked, took in the pregnancy, the cheap coat, the desperate eyes. What kind of trouble? I was working for a family. They threw me out tonight. I'm pregnant. I have nowhere to go. The woman's face softened, then hardened, self-preservation warring with compassion. Baby, I got my own problems. I got grandkids to feed, bills I can barely pay. I can't take in strangers. I just need to make one phone call, please. Do you have a phone I could use? The woman hesitated, pulled a flip phone from her purse, handed it over with reluctance written in every line of her body. Amara took it with shaking hands, tried to dial Zainab's number, got halfway through before realizing she didn't actually know it, only knew how to press Zainab's name in her contacts. Tried another number, her mother in Nigeria, international. The call wouldn't connect. A bus appeared at the end of the street, headlights cutting through the snow. The woman took her phone back. I'm sorry, honey, I really am, but I can't help you. The bus pulled up. The woman gathered her bags and climbed aboard. The door closed. The bus pulled away, leaving Amara alone again in the falling snow. She kept walking. She had to keep moving. Stopping meant freezing. Freezing meant dying. A bodega appeared ahead, lights on, open sign glowing. Amara stumbled inside, the warmth almost painful on her frozen skin. The owner, an older Korean man, maybe 60, looked up from arranging Christmas candy displays. You okay, miss? I need help, please. Can I use your phone? He saw the pregnancy, saw the desperation. His expression softened slightly. Who you need to call? My friend. I don't know her number by heart. You have somewhere to go? No, I was thrown out. I'm alone. Mr. Kim, his name tag read, glanced at the clock. 9:47 p.m. Christmas Eve. His family was probably waiting for him. There's a shelter on 42nd Street, maybe 10 blocks from here. They help people. Can I stay here? Just until morning? I'll sit in the corner. I won't bother anyone. Please. His expression pained him. I close in 15 minutes. I can't leave you here overnight. Insurance. Building owner would. He trailed off, unable to finish the excuse. Please, my baby, the cold is. I'm sorry. He pulled a bottle of water and a candy bar from behind the counter. Take this. For the baby, the shelter. 10 blocks that way. He pointed. Amara took the offerings, walked back out into the storm. Mr. Kim watched through the window, shaking his head, but the door stayed closed behind her. 10 blocks. She could make it 10 blocks. She made it 3. Her foot caught on something hidden under the snow, a curb, maybe, or debris. She stumbled. Pain shot through her ankle. She caught herself against a lamppost, barely staying upright. The ankle throbbed. Sprained, probably. Each step now sent pain radiating up her leg, but she kept moving, had to keep moving. A restaurant appeared on her left, closed, but someone was taking out trash through the back door. A Latina woman, maybe 30, in a server's uniform. Excuse me, please. The woman turned. We're closed. I need to make one call. I'm pregnant. I have nowhere. The worker looked around nervously. My boss doesn't let us use phones for personal stuff. It's an emergency, please. The woman hesitated, pulled out her phone. 1 minute, that's it. Amara took it with numb fingers, called 411. Information. Maybe they could connect her to the Nigerian embassy, someone who could help. Automated system. Required a credit card to proceed. She tried the hospital, asked for a social worker. We can send an ambulance if you're in medical distress. I'm not hurt. I just need shelter. Ma'am, we can only dispatch for medical emergencies. The worker took her phone back. I gotta go. Good luck. Disappeared inside. Lock clicked. Amara continued walking, limping now. Each step on her injured ankle was agony. A church appeared ahead. Large Catholic church, lights on inside. Christmas Eve service had probably just ended. She climbed the steps slowly. Each one was a mountain. At the top, she tried the doors. Locked. The service had ended an hour ago. The building was secured for the night. Amara sat down on the top step, tucked into the corner where 2 walls met, trying to block the wind. She pulled her knees up as much as her pregnant belly allowed and wrapped her arms around herself. The baby kicked, weaker than before, less frequent. I'm sorry, Amara whispered to her stomach. I'm so sorry, baby. Mama's trying. I'm trying so hard. Time became unclear. Could have been 20 minutes. Could have been 2 hours. The cold was doing something to her brain. Her thoughts were fragmenting, connections breaking down. Need phone. Need to call. Who? Can't remember. So tired. The shivering had stopped. That was bad. She knew that was bad. Hypothermia. When you stopped shivering, it meant your body was giving up. She saw Marcus approaching through the snow, reaching for her. Amara, I'm sorry. Come inside. Come home. She blinked. He dissolved. Hallucination. Her mother appeared next, standing in the snow in her Nigerian wrapper and headscarf. Amara, Bia, come, my daughter. Mama? Amara reached out. Her hand passed through air. She fumbled in her coat pocket, felt something. Paper, crumpled and wet from melted snow. A business card. She pulled it out. The ink was smudged, illegible, but the back had something embossed. Raised letters she could feel with her frozen fingers. A phone number. She stared at it, had no idea whose card it was or when she'd gotten it. No memory of it at all. But it was a number. 10 digits. A chance. Survival instinct flared through the fog of hypothermia. She forced herself to stand. Her legs barely cooperated. She stumbled down the church steps, fell halfway, caught herself on the railing. Pain shot through her already injured ankle. She limped toward the street, looking for anyone. A car, a person, anyone. A couple appeared, both white, 30s, getting into a car parked on the street. "Please, help me! I'm pregnant!" They froze. The woman gasped. "Are you okay? Do you need an ambulance?" "I need phone. One text. Please. Dying. Baby dying." The woman pulled out her phone. "Here, quick." Amara took it, dropped it. Her fingers weren't working right anymore. She picked it up with both hands, typed the number from the crumpled business card. It took 3 tries to get the digits right. Her vision kept blurring. Message. Pregnant. Thrown out. Freezing. Please help. Don't know who you are. Please. She tried to add her location, looked around, couldn't read the street signs through the snow and the darkness and her failing vision. Just hit send. Watched delivered appear. Handed the phone back. "Thank you. Thank you." "Where are you going? Let us drive you somewhere." "Shelter. 42nd Street. "That's 20 minutes away. Get in. We'll take you." Amara's legs gave out mid-step toward their car. She fell to her knees on the icy sidewalk. The couple rushed forward. "Oh my God." "Can you stand?" Amara couldn't stand. Her body was shutting down. The cold had won. The exhaustion had won. "We're calling 911. "No, no hospital. They'll ask. They'll call. Sterling's will." Her speech was slurring, not making sense anymore. "Yes, pregnant woman collapsed on corner of Madison and 73rd. Sirens in the distance. Or maybe she imagined them. She felt hands lowering her to the ground, someone's coat over her. "Stay with us. Help is coming." But consciousness was slipping away despite her fighting it. Her last thought was of the baby. Had to protect the baby. Everything went dark. And then, impossibly, warmth. Strong arms sliding under her knees and shoulders, lifting her from the frozen ground. A voice, deep and commanding, speaking in Korean, then switching to accented English. "Stay with me. Don't you dare die on me now." Amara couldn't open her eyes fully. Her lids were too heavy. But she felt herself being carried to a vehicle, felt leather seats beneath her, the voice giving commands. "Temperature maximum. Now." Another voice. "Boss, the ambulance is already. Cancel it. Take her to the penthouse." "Sir, that's not." "Do it." Heat blasting. Blankets, heated and soft, wrapped around her. Hands, gentle, efficient, checking her pulse. "Pregnant. Late stage. We need Dr. Cho. Tell him 15 minutes. Amara tried to speak. Only a whimper emerged. "You're safe. I have you." The vehicle moved through the city. Fast. Amara drifted in and out, catching fragments. Found her by the church. Text came to your number. Why save a stranger? Because she asked. Elevator. The sensation of rising. Doors opening to massive space. More warmth enveloping her. Being laid on something impossibly soft. A couch, maybe. More blankets piled on top. Heated. Heavy. Perfect. A different voice. "Doctor's 3 minutes out." Amara forced her eyes open, saw blurred figures. The man who'd rescued her crouched beside the couch. Mid-30s, sharp features, expensive suit. Cold eyes that somehow held warmth when looking at her. "What's your name?" "Amara." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I'm Min Jun. You texted my number. How did you get it?" "Don't know. Card. In pocket." "You sent a message to a stranger begging for help." "Had no one else." Minjun's jaw tightened. Who did this to you? Before she could answer, the elevator opened again. A doctor rushed in, medical bag already open. Efficient, 50s, gray hair, moving with practiced urgency. Core temperature 34.2 Celsius, severe hypothermia. The doctor, Dr. Cho, checked her vitals. Blood pressure dangerously low, pulse weak. How long was she in the cold? The other man, Jay, Minjun called him, answered. Based on text timestamp, approximately 2.5 hours. Another 30 minutes and we'd be looking at organ failure. Dr. Cho pulled out a portable ultrasound. The baby? Gel on Amara's exposed belly. Her wet clothes had been cut away at some point. She was wearing silk pajamas now. When had that happened? The probe moved across her skin. Static sounds. Amara's heart stopped. Then, thump, 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 thump. Fast, strong, steady. Baby's heartbeat is strong. Fetal movement good. No signs of distress. Amara sobbed, relief overwhelming every other sensation. Thank God. Thank God. Doctor. Cho set up an IV. Warm fluids. She's dehydrated and malnourished. When did you last eat? Amara thought back. Yesterday morning, maybe. That explains the weakness. Jay disappeared, returned with soup, bread, juice. Small sips, slowly. Your stomach's been empty too long. Amara took the soup bowl with shaking hands. The broth was delicious, some kind of Asian soup with noodles and vegetables. She wanted to drink it all at once, forced herself to sip slowly. Minjun still watched, hadn't moved from beside the couch. Who did this? The Sterling family. I worked for them. Their son got me pregnant. They threw me out tonight. Minjun and Dr. Cho exchanged a glance. The Sterlings? As in Sterling Industries? The real estate empire? Yes. They threw out their pregnant maid on Christmas Eve into a blizzard? They said the baby wasn't his. They had fake evidence, photos, doctor's testimony, all of it lies. Minjun stood, walked to the window overlooking the city. And the son? He denied you? Completely. Said he never touched me. Silence stretched, tension building. Minjun spoke without turning. 5 years ago, I was engaged. Ji-won. She was pregnant. Our daughter. Amara listened, the soup forgotten. I was handling business. She went into labor early while I was away. Complications, placental abruption. His voice was flat, emotionless, but his hands were clenched behind his back. By the time I reached the hospital, she was already gone. The baby lasted 4 hours. I held her while she died. He turned back to face Amara. I've spent 5 years asking myself what I could have done differently. If I'd been there, if I'd paid attention to the signs. When your text came through tonight, pregnant, freezing, please help, I didn't hesitate. Jay cleared his throat. Boss, we should discuss. There's nothing to discuss. She stays here. She recovers. The baby stays safe. Doctor. Cho packed his equipment. I'll stay for a few hours to monitor her temperature. She should make a full recovery with rest. To Amara, you're lucky. Very lucky. Amara's eyes filled with tears. You saved my baby's life. You saved my life. Minjun's expression softened slightly. You asked. That was enough.